The last section, and we're going to wrap up here, and this is this gets a little more heady. This third section, this is the effect insulin resistance. Like understanding the effect of insulin resistance on metabolic syndrome, how that can affect you and impact you psychologically.
Mm-hmm.
I think too often the psychological, spiritual, emotional journey of being a human doesn't get talked about enough from healthcare providers. I like to think we talk about it a lot in an appropriate amount.
Mm-hmm.
And this is no different. I think most people who have metabolic syndrome struggle with weight.
Mm-hmm.
They struggle to understand what the heck is going on with their blood pressure, why we can't lose weight, why are my blood sugars going crazy, why are my cholesterols going... It seems totally random, and nobody seems to have any answers, and I don't know what to do. I really want to stress this point that when you when the main thing becomes clear to something that's significant. I'm not talking about majoring in minor things. I'm talking about a massively important thing like metabolic syndrome. When all of a sudden you have this light bulb moment that this really comes down to my body's relationship with insulin, and that if all of my effort and energy and creativity and resourcefulness and focus is on optimizing my body's relationship with insulin, and then you see significant movement in metrics that matter, it's a psychological shift where there it is. It's a momentum builder. It obliterates the overwhelm and the complexity, and that simplicity and that clarity gives you a lot of momentum. And we talk a lot about multipliers. If I could wish one thing, it would be that people understood that the primary enemy of 2023 and beyond for humans is insulin.
Mm-hmm.
Juxtaposed to the fact that it's necessary for life.
Right.
But we live in a world of abundance. You alluded to this. It's never been easier to get a cheesecake and cookies dropped off at your doorstep in 1 hour.
Yeah.
The luxuries and finer surpluses in life are at our fingertip, and they're immediately available, and they're available at surplus.
Mm-hmm.
You will never win that battle. It's a setup for failure if you are not on offense.
Yeah, if you constantly give into that.
Yeah, and if you take a passive approach to your health, you're going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Long term, eventually you will pay the consequences. What do we say? Easy life now, hard life later.
That's right.
Hard life now, easy life later.
Mm-hmm.
Implementing discipline around this area can potentially free you down the road of the things that you want to be free from the most, like cancer, heart attack, those things. And that's why we create this. I think as we were preparing for this and kind of wrapping up, Jen, you really nailed kind of 4 big take-home points.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share those?
Well, the first thing is, I think we've quoted this before on the podcast, but all meaningful progress starts with telling the truth.
Yeah.
And so another way of spinning that for this podcast is knowing the truth. So get your numbers checked. Know what they are. You know, that has to be the next first step, is to definitely know where you fall on the spectrum, right?
Let's be honest about where we're at. Let's know our numbers.
Yep.
What else?
The next one is find your team, you know. Find a provider that takes this as seriously as you should and want to, and doesn't just say, oh, well, you don't need to worry about that right now because you're 35 and you have plenty of time to turn it around.
If it gets worse, we'll do something.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. It's like, no. Let's go on offense early.
Find a provider
go on offense early.
Is aligned with you.
Yeah.
In your values and your goals.
Yeah.
And they can support you on being on offense.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't agree more with finding your team.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that again, tons.
Yep. And then to reiterate again is go on offense. Just don't bury your head in the sand. Don't, get into the gap, as we've talked about the gap and the gain before, of where you are coming from or maybe your past. It's like you have the power and the knowledge and if you have a great team, to really turn this around for yourself and prevent major chronic diseases from happening, and to live a long, healthy, vibrant life. Who doesn't want that?
Yeah, and even if you can't prevent, you delay.
Yeah, delay.
And the name of the game is live as long as possible, as healthy as possible. And so, and people who take a sit back, we'll see how it goes, passive approach, reactionary approach, it is very unlikely that they're going to win.
Yeah.
The game of, I lived a long time and was super, super healthy. Because the default, all of the forces through mass agriculture, through pop culture, through marketing, and the current sick care model are all pushing you towards disease but don't die.
Yeah.
And we are kind of the opposite of that.
Right. Absolutely.